Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Today I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors. This may not be the end of their championship window, but it certainly might be the end of the Klay Thompson era in Golden State. I want to dive into that in this video. If you enjoy it, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just start off with, this has nothing to do with how we feel about Klay Thompson as fans, as the organization likely feels about him. They love him. I think we all love him. We've been through so many wars with him. And I say we because I've been a Warriors fan since Chris Gatlin and Billy Owens, Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin. So I consider myself a part of the we, right? I've lived in the Bay Area my whole life. I'm part of the we. But here's the thing. The salary cap is projected at $136 million. Well, it's $136 million this year. The Warriors I don't even want to think about how far above the salary cap, paying an enormous tax to have this team together. But then we look at next year. And this is where we have to start thinking about his talent, what he still has left in the tank, his pride, and what the Warriors also have a responsibility to. Let's start with the first one, his talent. Klay Thompson is still probably one of the greatest shooters. Well, he's one of the greatest shooters of all time, but he's probably one of the best shooters in the NBA right now, even in a shooting slump, because it's not so much as just that he has shot the ball well. It's that he's such a threat from the three-point line that you have to play him as if he's already hot, even if he's not. There's no point in which you can lay off of Klay Thompson and believe that he's going to miss. That's just not something that's afforded to you. And so whether he's making his shots or missing it, he's still that level of a threat. The second part of it is that even within his shooting ability, he's able to get into a really high level catch and shoot off screens, coming off the ball, and catch, pump fake, one dribble and pull up, right? It seems like a very simple part of basketball, but when you're a high-level person at this, what it does is it creates gravity, and I talk about this often in my channel, that gravity is one of the greatest predictors of the impact of an offensive player within their system. Your ability to attract multiple defenders to you and help defenders, whether you have the ball or not. And that's what Klay Thompson still does. And so his talent on the basketball court is still immense. He's still a solid enough defender, though I think at this point in his career, he's probably better off guarding small forwards than he is shooting guards. He doesn't have quite the foot speed, the foot quickness to be able to stay in front of guys laterally, and he can begin to be a bit of a liability on the defensive end when he's asked to. He doesn't rebound. He never really has at a high level, but at least he took up size where he could box out. And even that has been slipping as of late. But his talent is still there. It's still there. But we have to ask ourselves, what is his talent worth? And that's where we get into the second part of it, is Klay Thompson's pride. A part of what makes him so talented is he has probably the most supreme level of confidence and pride in his game. That's what has allowed him to come back from an ACL injury. That's what allowed him to come back from a Achilles injury, and why he's still able to be effective today. But here's the thing. When somebody has diminishing return on their talent, and yet their pride still is at a level where they used to be a star, if not a superstar, then now as an organization, you kind of have a crossroads. Do you bet on them and say, hey, we're just going to ride it out for better or for worse? Or do you say, look, this is what we value you at? Because let's be clear, his value amongst the big three, between Steph, Draymond, and Klay, his value is the most replaceable. His talent is the most replaceable. And when we think about who else is already on that team with Brandon Podziemski, when we think about Moses Moody, when we think about even Jonathan Kuminga, this team already has depth at doing what he does, whether it's shooting off the ball, whether it's being a multi-positional defender, whether it's creating gravity on the offensive end. Now, I don't think anybody is his level of shooter, but when you factor in the youth, the athleticism that allows him to guard multiple positions, get to the basket with more ease, and the significant difference in what they will cost you, well, this is where the organization has to make a decision. But here's the thing, and this is the third part of it, is the organization's responsibility towards winning, and not just winning, but winning with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Those two are going to be tied together for the rest of their careers, period. Steph is an amazing player. He's not the same player without Draymond Green. Draymond is an amazing player. He is not the same without Stephen Curry. And so when we think about what they have with these two and what they've been betting on with these two, what they're going to have to decide upon is, do they commit to winning with these two, or are they just going to ride out the trio for better or for worse? And this is where this video kind of comes to, is that when you look at the talent of Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, you see a new wave of players, of talent, that's ready to win. Now, are they ready to replicate what Klay does? I doubt it, and I don't think we'll ever see anyone replicate what Klay does. But the growth in Stephen Curry's game to be able to do more dynamic playmaking with the ball in his hands, and guys' ability to spread the floor, Moses Moody, Podziemski, right, Kuminga, you're not going to get the same product you did in the first, or mainly the bulk of this championship dynasty, right? You're not going to get this Splash Brothers moving off screens 100 miles an hour, running 150 miles every game, right? I'm exaggerating, but, that's one of the things that Stephen Curry was known for, running off the ball so much. Klay Thompson running off the ball so much. It puts defenses in a tailspin where their heads are constantly twisted around and looking for where the next guy's coming off of a screen. And just when you're looking at the three-point line, they're backdooring you for layups. And Draymond Green is hitting them from the top of the key, right? We're not going to get that same product moving forward. But the reality is, change happens. The league, for the most part, has caught up to what the Warriors used to do. And they've adjusted appropriately. And other teams are beginning to take, their spin at the top. Namely the Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, right? You still got the Lakers. You got plenty of competition. And so the Golden State Warriors are also having to adjust. And I think it's pretty clear early on that this team is not going to be able to win a championship if Klay Thompson is only able to play at this level. And if we're frank about it, somebody who's never been that athletic in the first place, having an Achilles and an ACL injury is pretty much spelling doom for his athletic side of his career. And that means maximizing the athleticism he had to be the player he was. I don't think he ever gets back to that. But with that said, when he becomes a free agent at the end of this season, it's going to be a lot to ask him to drop down from making $40+ million a year to then saying, hey, we may need to give you 18. Because here's the thing. When the team is over the salary cap to a certain extent, it limits how much they can re-sign guys, especially guys who are demanding a maximum contract. And when we look at the players that are coming up right after Klay Thompson, not this coming summer, but the following summer, with Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Jonathan Kuminga is a max salary talent. Sure, his production, it's not all-star level yet, right? Sure, his production doesn't look like an all-star, doesn't look like a superstar, but his talent and how he's putting it together certainly does. When we look at Moses Moody starting against the Clippers and how good he looked going up against Klay, going up against James Harden. I'm sorry, not going up against Klay, going up against Kawhi Leonard, going up against James Harden, going up against Paul George. When we look at these guys and how they're performing at this level, against this level of competition, It's hard for us to then go back to and say, hey, you know what? We're going to sacrifice being able to re-sign you guys because another team is going to likely offer them a sizable contract, if not a max contract. And I can't see the Golden State Warriors sacrificing both of those talents just to re-sign Klay so they can drift off into the sunset, especially when they're paying such a high salary tax. Now, as always, I want to know what you all think. But I think we're in a type of situation where I can see another team coming in and saying, hey, we're going to offer you a bit more. And we're going to bank on you having one or two really high-level seasons left in you. And the role that you can play for us will be far greater than what the Golden State Warriors are going to give you. We're going to pay you more and give you a bigger role with the chance to win. And I think he's going to take it. But as always, let me know what you all think in the comment section. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Peace.